think Tyrannosaurus Rex was the most terrifying dinosaur to ever live? Then you haven't met me. I was longer than T-Rex. I had enormous jaws filled with sharp teeth. And unlike most giant dinosaurs, I was perfectly at home near the water. I was Spinosaurus. And around 95 million years ago, I ruled the rivers of ancient North Africa. But I wasn't like the other giant predators of my time. My body was different. My lifestyle was different. And even today, scientists are still trying to understand exactly what kind of creature I was. Let me take you back to my world. Around 95 million years ago, the Sahara Desert you know today looked completely different. Instead of endless sand dunes, huge river systems crossed the landscape. The water was filled with enormous fish, sharks, turtles, and strange prehistoric creatures. And along those rivers, I hunted. I could grow to around 14 meters long, possibly even more. That made me one of the longest known meat-eating dinosaurs ever discovered. But if you looked at my head, you might notice something unusual. My skull didn't look like the skull of T-Rex. My snout was long and narrow, almost like a crocodile's. Inside my mouth were many sharp, cone-shaped teeth. They were perfect for grabbing slippery prey. And that was important, because fish were probably a major part of my diet. Some of the fish living in my world were enormous. This wasn't a peaceful little river. It was a dangerous prehistoric ecosystem filled with predators, but my jaws weren't the strangest thing about me. Look at my back. Rising from my spine were enormous bones called neural spines. Some of them were taller than a human. Together, they supported the giant sail on my back. Scientists still debate exactly what my sail was used for. Maybe it helped me display to other Spinosaurus. Maybe it helped me regulate my body temperature, or perhaps it had several purposes. But one thing is certain. It made me almost impossible to mistake for any other dinosaur. And then there was my tail. For many years, humans imagined me mostly as a giant land predator. But new fossil discoveries changed that picture. My tail was tall and flexible, almost like a giant paddle. Scientists found evidence suggesting that I had strong adaptations for life around water. My bones were unusually dense too. That may have helped me control my body while moving through shallow water. But does that mean I spent my entire life swimming like a crocodile? Not necessarily. Scientists are still debating exactly how I moved, hunted, and behaved in the water. That mystery is part of what makes me so fascinating. I belong to a group of dinosaurs called Spinosaurids. Many members of this family had long, crocodile-like snouts and probably ate fish. But I took those adaptations to an extreme. I lived in a world where the boundary between land and water was incredibly important. I could hunt along riverbanks. I could catch large fish. And I may have entered the water to search for prey. But my world was filled with competition. Other giant predators lived in North Africa at the same time. One of them was Carcharodontosaurus, another enormous meat-eating dinosaur. Imagine a landscape where predators nearly the size of T-Rex lived, alongside giant crocodile-like reptiles and enormous fish. Survival was never guaranteed, even for me. Then, after millions of years, my species disappeared. The rivers changed, ecosystems changed, and eventually, the world that supported animals like me vanished. For tens of millions of years, my bones remained hidden beneath the earth. Then humans found me, and my story became strange all over again. Some of my first important fossils were discovered in Egypt in the early 1900s and described by German paleontologist Ernst Stromer. But during World War II, those fossils were destroyed when the museum that held them in Munich was bombed. For decades, scientists had only limited evidence to understand me. Then new fossils began appearing, and with every discovery, the image of Spinosaurus changed. My legs, my bones, my tail, my possible connection to the water. Piece by piece, scientists began rebuilding an animal unlike almost any other giant predatory dinosaur. And they're still not finished. Even today, scientists disagree about exactly how I lived. Was I a powerful swimmer? Did I mostly stand in shallow water and catch fish? How much time did I spend on land? The answers are still being debated, and perhaps that is the most interesting thing about me. I'm not just a dinosaur from the past. I'm a mystery that is still changing with every new discovery. I lived around 95 million years ago. I walked along the rivers of ancient North Africa. I hunted in a world filled with monsters. I carried an enormous sail above my back and possessed one of the strangest bodies of any giant predator ever discovered. I was Spinosaurus, the giant predator of the ancient rivers. And millions of years after my disappearance, humans are still trying to understand me.